All right, man. Today, man, we have the son of a Brooklyn cowboy out here in the Wild West. Three-time Grammy-nominated producer. Worked with someone we're gonna talk about. All the people work with: Post Malone, Adrian Marcel, YG, Young Thug, Be Real, Burner, Wiz. I mean, we're gonna talk about all that. But we got the homie Max Perry in the building.
What's up, y'all? Man, thanks for having me.
Hey.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Hell yeah, man. We're excited. I mean, another episode of In the Building, the Bay Area's premier podcast
Yes,
coming
sir.
from the ground up, grassroots. We've been building this thing, one half brick at a time, right, Rasta?
Straight up.
But no, the exciting part about it is that like we've had some incredible guests, and nonetheless, we have another one today, Max Perry, aka Maxwell Smart.
Yes,
is
sir.
The stage name, right?
Yes, sir. That was the original production
Yes,
name.
sir. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Only
sick.
the real ones know about that. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
So
I know exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm a film guy. I know about the smart guy or guy smart.
yeah,
But, dude,
yeah.
It was hella funny, actually. So
The show back in the day.
Yeah, Maxwell Smart. So
Bro,
the
that was
smart
what-
guy or whatever the guy.
Get Smart.
Get Smart. That's what.
That was actually one of my favorite
Dude,
shows,
it's
like
hella
growing
funny,
up.
dude.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Bring down the dome of silence. What is
The
it?
I think the Cone of Silence
Yeah,
or
the
something.
Cone of Silence.
Yeah.
Dude, this is back in the '60s. It's a
I know.
show.
Okay, yeah, it's like Dragnet or some shit,
So
like,
this was
right?
written by I want to say like Mel Gibson or somebody wrote
Oh,
this. Dude, it was
What?
crazy.
No,
but
oh, not Mel
funny
Gibson.
as-
Mel Brooks, probably.
Yeah, Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mel
yeah,
Brooks.
yeah,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go. So
Okay,
Mel Brooks
that's
wrote
my
this
dude.
way back in the day, and the shit was hella funny. And so
Nice.
that's like what I figured. That's where he kind of drew the name.
Yeah,
from.
so it was like, it was really just a cool play on my name because, like, trying to be like, I started doing music when I was 16. So, like, as a kid, thinking is like, you take something in pop culture and kind of reformat it to my purposes. But the show, it was actually really funny. It was about like a secret agent played by Don Adams. And he would be like, he would make like
The
every
intro was
mistake.
Like you go through hella doors.
Yeah, and then
the
fall down the tube.
The dome of silence was
Yeah.
like this dome comes down and they're
Yeah.
trying to talk. He's like, what?
And they
Huh?
can't even hear each other in the
Yeah,
dome.
can't hear just so he
And
tells
if-
the dude, raise the dome, and dude's like, huh? I can't hear you. Like, funny shit. So that's cool. So that's where the name came from.
That's where the name came from,
Uh,
yeah.
You said you started at an early age, obviously, but before we get into that, like, tell us, like, we know you're born and raised in Brooklyn, right?
In Brooklyn, New York, yeah.
Tell us what you were like as a kid, man. What was it like for
Man.
you growing up? Like, we got the stereotypes of New York, stickball and.
I mean, it really
stifling
is all
playing
that.
Water,
It's
the fire hydrants. Tell us about
it's definitely all that. It's definitely grew up playing in the streets and just roaming around Brooklyn. I feel like it's sad. I feel like we don't live in that era anymore. Like I'm
Playing
like
outside.
yeah, like I'm even like worried about my kids going down the block. I was going
100%.
like I got hit by a car when I was in first grade with like 2 blocks down from where I live, and I'm thinking about it now. Like, what was I even doing there? 2 blocks down. Like, I would have a heart attack if my kid was outside of the driveway.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
for
Times
sure.
have changed.
So were you like a bike guy, skateboard?
Uh,
How'd you get around Brooklyn?
So, like mainly like bike and like back then it was like roller skates and roller blades was also a thing, and then like just walking. Like everything was kind of somewhat walking distance. A kid like first getting out into the world, like you don't care like how you're like the more farther you're straying away from the nest, like the more you feel like you're doing something. But yeah, just basketball was like a huge part of my life when I was young, and around like teenage years, 15, 16 years old, music, quickly became the dominant force in my life, and everything else went on hold. You know what I mean?
What kind of artists you like? Did you slap back then, like in your teenage years?
Yeah,
back
first-
then?
first
Underground,
music
like
you
who
were
the
slapping,
underground Brooklyn, like cats that
So-
we don't know about really.
So I try to like go back in my memory bank and like pinpoint things like the first rap album I ever heard that like got me like, whoa, what is this? And then also like the first album I bought like with my own money.
Yeah.
And like, or
That you probably shouldn't have been buying, right?
no, actually my parents were super supportive of my musical taste throughout my whole life. Like even my dad, who mainly listened to like rock and like blues and like stuff like that, was like really into LL Cool J, really into the Ghetto Boys, really into Beastie Boys. And so he was, I'm the son of two hippies, you know what I mean? Like that were so immersed in music culture. Like, you know, my parents went out and went to concerts more than some of my friends, and like me, like growing up, you know. So
So your dad also owned like his own independent label and stuff, right?
yeah, my
And he was
dad,
part of a band called the Brooklyn Cowboys.
yeah, my
Right.
dad had a band called the Brooklyn Cowboys, and they did like Americana, like kind of country rock stuff like that. And he definitely gave me like a big foundation on the music business, how, you know, the money flow works, like what structures are in place that can, you know, provide funding for our careers. You know what I mean? Like, there's no other business in the world where you do the work and the money's there, but then they're like, oh, we're gonna send you on a scavenger hunt to get it. Like, that's crazy. That's like, imagine doing a construction job and then like, okay, so you got to go to this escape room, and once you do the challenge, then you get
Figure
your
out the
check.
50 puzzles,
Yeah, like
right.
that's crazy. Like, and it's hard, man. Like there's, you know, several sources of revenue that we as musicians survive off of, and you know, that's why it's so important. Like the path I took with intellectual property collections, to just create an avenue that takes all the hindrances and the hurdles out of the way of people getting what's rightfully theirs.
Hell yeah, no, it's good that you have pops, and if I'm not mistaken, your uncle too is quite the musician.
My uncle, yeah, my uncle is a extremely legendary producer.
He was like a super like Grammy Award winning
Yeah,
record
he's-
producers of the year.
I look at his discography's got like, you know, Barbara Streisand, like names
Dude,
that are
it's
like
crazy.
so
Ray
Yeah,
Charles,
like
Rod
Ray
Stewart.
Charles, Rod Stewart, The Temptations,
Shaka Khan,
Ringo Starr. Like, he
Yeah,
worked
yeah.
with all the Beatles on that album. Produced Rhythm of the Night for El DeBarge, You're Sylvain for Carly Simon. Like,
A
tons
Rhythm
of-
of the Night.
Yeah.
Oh
that's-
shit! Yeah. My
Yeah, I
favorite
love
movie.
that one. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Bruce Leroy.
That's
Yeah.
No, that's big. So that a
Big
lot of
shoes to fill.
inspiration and support, like,
Man.
and kind of guidance, really.
Definitely, like, you know, the music thing is like so shrouded with mystery. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Kind of
there's
like the film business.
very similar.
Yeah.
There's no
Oh, yeah.
guidelines to let you know that you're doing, that you're on the right path. You know what I mean? Like with, I don't know, with being a doctor, like you go to school, you go to college, you go to med school, you might do your internship
Intern,
and your, you know, your residency. I don't know what they call it, but, and then, you know, whatever 10-year situation. Like,
Yeah.
there's the very
There's a
clear
roadmap.
there is a very clear roadmap. There is no roadmap with this, and like, you know, we don't have a 401k. We don't, so, you know, it's kind of crucial out there. You know,
It's kind of like you gotta love what you do. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you love what you do, you're enjoying. You know what I'm saying? But there's always the little.
it's even past that. Like with this, to be successful, you gotta love the things that people hate. In order,
That's the
in
that's
order
a good way to
to,
put it.
in
For
order
real.
to traverse, because it's like,
100%. Like editing. Nobody
Yeah,
hate doing
well,
that shit.
you got to do
but I
the
like
things
to
that
do it.
nobody. There's no glory in it, really.
Yeah, there's
but it's
like-
got to get done.
it's like you gotta dig through a bunch of dirt to then maybe get like a nugget of gold or a diamond. You know what I mean? And those are the, like, for us, it's like, you know, a gold or a platinum song or a #1 song or like a Grammy or like a, you know, something that's like killing it streaming wise. Like, you know, we have a very finite number of even trophies to let. Once you are doing good, there's very little cherries on top that we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Especially once you. I mean, obviously you've been doing it for a long time, so you build a expectation from your fan, if you will, and yeah, if you let them down, then yeah, they're. But I mean, I know that's not the case for you. You've had such a successful career and all that. But let's go back. So you're 16. Like, tell us how it started. Give us the makings of what made you.
Man.
This, you know, amazing award-winning, award-nominated producer. Like, what went through your head at 16?
So, this is the part that didn't contribute to me being an award-winning or award-nominated, whatever the case may be, producer. And I don't advocate this route, but pretty much as soon as I started doing music, I dropped out of high school, and like that route went completely left for me. And like I said, I don't advocate that route, but that route wasn't working for me, and music took over my life. And yeah, it was the biggest probably gamble of my life, but you know, thank God it worked out. And you know, so there was that was a major thing.
Right.
I was still living with my parents, making beats.
So keyboard, somebody got you a keyboard, or
Yep.
that's what I want to know. How did
Yep.
it start? Like,
So
here you go, try this.
from the recommendation of my brother Genesee, who's also a producer, artist, songwriter, based in the Bay Area.
Shout out to Genesee, that's the homie.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll definitely talk about him too. but-
Yep. And recommended to my parents because I was, you know, probably doing knucklehead stuff and getting into trouble at the time. And he was like, listen, get him an MPC 2000 XL
Okay.
and you'll never hear a peep out of him ever again. And that pretty much happened.
It worked.
It really
This
did
your
work.
older brother?
This is my older brother.
Okay, see,
yeah.
so older brother's looking out for you.
Had a
Tells
good
mom, Dad,
recommendation.
get him an MPC.
Yep.
You got the MPC, and man, the rest is history.
Yeah, I was very fortunate enough for my parents to almost be like my first seed investors in a sense.
Right, right.
They supported.
Got you the instrument.
They
Yeah.
always supported me with like
Do
anything
you
that I
remember
did.
the first beat you made on that MPC?
I have the first beat I ever
What?
made. Yeah, I
Oh,
have.
you'll be hearing
So,
it here real
Was your
soon.
brother, was he
Oh,
already
it was
making beats?
trash.
Good.
It was
Nah,
trash.
But I mean, that was the starting
But it
point.
was still like, if you heard it, like even though it's like not like the most professional, you can hear the musicality in it. You can still hear the drum programming, like the seeds of like what's now good drum programming. Like you can there was some redeemable value to it.
Had some talent. Yeah.
There, they
some
were,
natural
yeah.
talent there.
Yeah,
Genesee was already making beats before you?
yeah. Jen was doing
So that was like
Uh,
your kind of your inspiration a little bit too.
big time.
So he was like, he knows, just get him an MP player. Then
Yeah,
he'll be good.
he showed
He
me
knew, yeah.
he showed me how to use the tools that we made music with, and definitely gave me inspiration in a lot of ways.
He got some beats on like the Mac Dre's, like
Yeah,
Ronald
Mac
Reagan's
Dre,
and shit,
Paul
like,
Wall,
Genie and the
Baby
Wap,
Bash,
Genie and
yep.
the Lamp, all that. Yeah,
Yep, Genie and
for
the
sure.
Lamp, Ronald Reagan, yep.
That's big.
And so yeah, as far as like making hip hop music, like music was just I was just always immersed in music, and like, you know, my dad, my uncle, and even like my grandparents, they have a company that, you know, they both passed, but
I got
They-
the company right here, Parapo.
my guy's well researched right here.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
we
so-
try to, we
And
try
they
to make
came-
sure we
and
dig
they
a little
came
bit.
from Nazi Germany, 1945, to Brooklyn and started this company. Now this company is not just dope, but it does a lot of shit for like schools and shit.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So, which is
Manufactures
dope.
musical instruments, distributes them to schools all over the world, and yeah, it's cool. It's a cool family legacy, man.
That's
Definitely
sick.
dope.
So,
It's
so
beautiful.
now you're locked in the room with the MPC.
now
like,
I'm locked in.
you're making 100 beats a week, or
So what I want to know is how much did you make off of your first beat?
did you sell it?
So my first beat sale was to my boy David Kafko. Shout out to David, and he was rapping. He was looking for beats. He was, he still is a very business minded individual. Wasn't afraid to invest in himself and seek out quality product. And he bought 5 beats off me for $1,000.
Okay.
And I was about 17, and that was
Hell
like the
yeah.
first music business I had ever done.
All right.
And
Nice.
I even gave my boy, who linked up the business transaction, 20%.
Finder's
So I
fee,
was
yeah.
like
Yeah.
Perfect.
that's one thing that people need to know. There's rules to the road, and like you
Right.
better know how to like conduct business with people, and like
Sure.
profit sharing is everything. You know what I mean? Like the unfortunate case is like you gotta compensate people for their role in things.
Time
you know
or
what I mean?
whatever,
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
everything.
And at the like if you sell a beat of mine and I gave you a cut, like chances are you're gonna want to do it again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
And we
yeah.
want repeat business. You know what I mean? So like I was always very business minded. Like I had a family entertainment lawyer since I was like 17, and definitely was familiar with like negotiating contracts and reading contracts and kind of understanding like the guidelines to things a little bit.
Right.
Which my dad was very instrumental in. And yeah, it you got to learn the rules to the road and
You
like
do, man. And
yeah.
I'll say the same thing like you and your pops. Read the contracts, people.
read the contracts,
Fucking
get a
read 'em.
lawyer.
Even if you got a lawyer, I mean, get a lawyer, yes. But the lawyer, you know what? But bottom line is, you still got to read it.
100%. You
Because
got to
the
be able
lawyer
to
might
comprehend.
Be human and miss something, and
Yep.
and as long as you're on top of your shit, you ain't gonna
Fine
miss
print. Fine print.
And the lawyer
That's it.
might not know exactly where you're coming from
it. Sure,
sometimes.
if he's not
There-
specific in that field of
Yep.
of
It's not
industry,
easy.
yeah.
You
No,
learn
that's
any
it.
game from like what kind of like games you learned from your uncle?
My uncle, so
Did you like were you close to him or something?
I'm definitely very close to my uncle. However,
Richard Perry.
Richard Perry, yeah, my uncle. Like honestly, our eras weren't overlapped enough to
Okay.
to be able to, you know, go forth with like professional growth, if that
Right,
makes
right, right,
sense.
right.
Like he was like 70s. By the time like I was really going full steam, he kind of retired.
Sure.
And but there was one thing, like he had a young singer that he was developing that when I was 18 my dad randomly sent him like a bunch of my beats, and then he played the beats for the artist, and like they were going crazy, so like he flew me out a couple times to like stay at the crib and like work with his artist, and like, you know, had a bunch of like different resources, like resource for equipment and songwriters and engineers. Like it was cool.
That's
Got
good.
this picture right here with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, that's his ex-girlfriend, Jane.
Yeah. Anybody recognize Jane Fonda?
Anybody recognize her? That's dope,
Yeah,
man.
that's
You know what I'm saying? That means he was in the mix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that's pretty
Uncle
dope.
was
Like,
definitely a legendary boss.
And he like when I was reading, he was like around like in 10 years, you run like a bunch of like record producer of the year, like a lot of times.
Yeah, I
Something
think
like
I think it was twice that he won producer of the
twice?
year at the
Okay.
Grammys, and he's also a trustee award recipient from the Grammys, which is like kind of like a
Yeah.
lifetime
Lifetime
achievement. Yeah,
achievement,
kind
yeah.
of something
No,
along
that's
those
incredible.
lines.
Woo.
Yeah, yeah.
Man,
That's
such
crazy.
Such a rare feat. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously the family's super talented with music, and so yeah. Now growing up, you're obviously still young. You know, under 20 is what you're.
Man,
talking about.
I
But
got-
You're coming up a little bit, right? Things are going well. Like, was there ever a point where like there was any like big time challenges or obstacles at that early age that you were facing?
I mean,
Aside
Man.
from, I mean, you dropped out of high school. I mean,
yeah, that actually never actually hindered me, but the fact that never hindered me is a complete like crapshoot that I won. You know what I mean? But it could have easily, you know.
maybe it's not though. Like Dave and I have talked about this. Our education system is like
Oh yeah.
Bro,
not the
let's-
best right now. You know
Bro,
what I mean?
it's
I mean,
not.
honestly, like,
It's bad.
Kids are not.
No,
what they
no.
do
Into
right
it.
now.
It's it kind. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I can start, but I don't want to go.
No, but
It's-
so
it
so
comes-
not.
It's a program
not,
system.
Not
to,
saying
to
like
make
you said,
workers.
Not
Correct.
condoning or saying people should drop out of school, but
But if you
I
do
think,
that,
I think
you-
you should definitely.
You always got to educate yourself.
Get educated.
But
you know,
yeah,
get
educate
How do
yourself.
you do that? Yeah,
And
get
you educate
educated.
what you want to learn, because they're teaching you random shit that you don't give a fuck about.
Well, kids
You know
go
what
to
I'm saying?
college to party. Let's be real. They
Right,
they go to
exactly.
they
Well, I
like
mean,
the
yeah.
life experience and all that, and some go to study what they actually want to do. But people go to college to get out of their parents' house and
away.
use
Yeah.
have some independence and to party. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that, but let's call it what it is. You know what I mean?
Right,
Instead of like
Well, it's-
just getting to it.
It's another system that's out there, just like I don't know if it's as
a
bad
Prussian,
as like the
old school
DMV or
industry program
or
system, dude.
You know, the IRS, all these agencies that they've created to work
It's not-
against us.
There's nothing wrong with
or to keep
education,
us back.
but
yeah.
educate yourself on what you want to learn.
Always.
That's what inspires you. What do you like to do?
sure.
Learn that and perfect that, and become a successful person at what you love to do.
And also just learn there's tons of perspectives out there. You know what I mean? Like we live in a big world. And like, traveling, going to different places, like going to different major
It's hard to
world
do shit, for
hubs.
sure.
Oh, it's hard.
It's hard.
It's
Right.
hard.
Right.
I was even just
But that can't be the reason to not do it. It's gonna be hard.
no,
Yeah,
it's just
do it.
hard.
Without no
But I'm
risk, there's
honestly-
no reward, man.
All right.
and honestly, nothing good comes overnight, and anything worthwhile is going to be hard. Like that's the whole thing with like success in music. Like the whole reason why success in music is hard is because it's systematically set up to weed out the people that either don't want it or can't endure the soul crushing pressure of the industry, because it's soul crushing. It's bad.
The blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh, this will make you question your
no.
existence.
You're right.
Like
Exactly.
it's crazy.
I could totally relate with our industry, you know, on the film side of things. I mean, no matter
It's the same thing.
what we're doing, yeah, it's
Same
like
thing.
You're always being scrutinized, and there's always like, you know, something
Dude.
that goes along with not just.
I just
you
got
know,
a
hey, we're
sick
just
ass
being
idea.
creative, you
I
know,
damn
we're
near
being
think
creative.
it's.
And I'm just
I
gonna
damn near
remind
think it's
myself.
worse in the film. I think
It can be. I mean, I think it can be, but I think it's always similar or the same, because I've definitely in doing film projects, music videos, commercials, feature films. I mean, we all, hand in hand, film and music go together. So I've always
Yeah.
dealt with music producers, artists, and stuff like that to get them on soundtracks, and like the same stories that they're telling are the same stories that we're telling, and the bottom line is
Yep.
the end of the story is the same, as we're getting screwed. You know what I mean? Like you said, going on this treasure hunt to collect money from a distributor that in the first place, like, for us, this is how it is. We raise all the funds to make the film. We take the risk. We make the film. We cut it. We get it done. We present it to the distributor and say, oh, we love it. Give us 50%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So right out the gate, we already gave up 50%. When we took all the risk, we did it all. And like I said, I'm sure it's the same in the music business. But we're not here to complain about that. What we're here to do is celebrate the stuff that you're doing. And with all that success that you've had, how does it feel to be recognized on a larger scale now for you?
I mean, I don't even know if I really even am. You know what I mean? Like a lot of how I operate, like I act like none of this ever happened. You know what I mean? Like that's what keeps me like hungry and grounded. And like if you get too hung up on what you're doing currently, you're not gonna be your best for your next 10 moves. You know what I mean? Like
Ooh, and I don't mean to cut you off, but in our last H and Gregory said something similar. You know what I'm saying? He said it's something like similar to what you're saying. He's like,
Definitely.
he's like, I was like, ask him how many plaques you got. He's like, I got plaques everywhere, but he's like, but I put them in the garage because what's next? What am I doing next? I'm worried about what I'm
Period.
doing next.
Yep.
So that's like
that's it right
gold
there.
right there. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
gold.
you can't-
And that
can't
is
get
the
so-
common thread. Yeah,
You can't
got
drink
it.
your
What's
own
next?
Kool-Aid too much, man. Like honestly, like
Right.
you gotta just keep pushing, man. Just keep pushing. Like, you're only as good as your last hit. It's a common phrase with the music biz, but
Yeah.
you just gotta keep going and don't get hung up. Like, and really, if you're in music for the right reasons, which is like the passion for the craft and like the high that you get when you make a dope song or a dope beat, and it's just like something amazing that you created. Like there's really like not many feelings like that. And if you're in music for that reason, you'll never really just naturally get hung up on the little accolades or whatever, because that's what you weren't in it for that. You were in it for the passion of the music, and that's what keeps the fire going. You know what I mean? And then like it's the same thing with like the money, man. Like with the music, like my dad always taught me, like never chase the money. You chase doing a good job every time, and the money is a side effect of that.
Right.
So you keep doing good, keep doing good, keep doing good, keep your head down, and really like work hard,
And side effects get better.
and the side effects get better. You know what I mean? And just like, you got to build yourself up as an asset, and the only way to do that is consistency. You know what I mean? Even if you have some losses and pitfalls and some things that go left, as long as you power forward and don't let that get you sidetracked, ultimately things will get back in your corner, because, consistency wins
Every time.
every time.
Hell yeah.
Career's going well now, getting older. Almost like this is a question that could fast forward throughout your whole career, but what do you think is the most memorable moment for you in your career so far? Like, can you pinpoint one moment that was like, damn, man, this is great?
I probably had a couple different moments like that for different reasons. Like when me and Byrne did All in a Day, and it was like YG was on the record, Thug was on the record, my boy Vital was on the record. It was kind of like, damn, this is kind of like a powerhouse moment. It was like the first time we were on MTV for anything. And so that was one of them. And then obviously the first Grammy nomination is
Post Malone? Or
for
Black Panther?
for J Boog.
Oh,
For,
J Boog.
yeah,
Okay,
for J
okay.
Boog for Best Reggae Album,
right, yeah.
which we got nominated for in 2016 and 2017.
Yeah, 2 years in a
And
row.
then-
And you went the second year, right? Or the first
He
year?
unfortunately didn't win.
No, you went. You went.
Oh,
You
I went. Yeah, I went.
you went.
I went in 16 and 17.
Oh, you went both years?
Yeah,
You went
both years.
Nice.
The
How was that little experience? Like, how was that?
it was great, man. It was a Grammy legendary thing, legendary night.
Was it like a little like, networking going on? Did you get to like mingle and
Yeah, we had the first year Nick Diamond and Diamond Supply and Wash
yeah, the
House.
homies,
we kind of collabed on
Okay,
an
yeah.
after party for
oh
Hood,
man, I should have went out
so
there, man. Damn.
That was dope. And then
For real.
the next year, so the 2016 was the 59th Grammys, and 2017 was the 60th Grammys.
Oh, nice.
So
So
that-
that,
that-
extra fat.
That was in New York, which is kind of like a rarer thing. It's usually like in LA, and we went out there. It was cool to do that.
nice. And it was in New York. She was like,
Yeah,
home.
there was definitely a bunch of cool after parties over there. You know, I'm honestly not much of a partier. Like, I'm really like in the office
Yeah.
at the crib with my son. Like, you know.
You're like, it's already 11. I'm trying to go home, man. What the hell? Past my bedtime.
For real.
Hell yeah. That's dope. When was the last time you went back out to the Brooklyn?
Oh, I went out to New York last July.
And
Yeah.
like, what's the from as a kid to now? Like, what's the differences?
Man, it's different, bro.
Changed.
It's different. I mean, I feel like where I grew up in Sheepshead Bay, which is like South Brooklyn, kind of near Coney Island, it's pretty similar, I think. Just like, you know, every time I go home, I like to drive by the old block because it's just like such a, it's you know, it's got
Nostalgia.
it.
Brings back good feelings.
Yeah, it's got a
Nostalgia.
dear place in my
Comfort
heart.
zone.
You know what I
Comfort
mean? And
zone.
like, like it was like, yo, these are my stomping grounds that, like, you know, where a lot of my life was spent. And that seemed like it was pretty simple. But like, you know, different parts of Brooklyn, like Williamsburg and Red Hook and Dumbo, like it are like gentrified, like totally different. Like, you know, it used to be like you wouldn't want to walk around here in certain areas, and now there's like, you know, girls walking poodles and stuff, and like, you know.
Yeah, we've been out to Brooklyn before, and I spent a little time, me and one of my folks out there connecting. And what was crazy about Brooklyn to me was like, so my boy's African American, who would be walking down the block, and he would speak to everybody in Spanish. It was crazy to me. Like, you know, the Asian people were speaking Spanish, everybody's speaking Spanish. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, this is crazy. Do you
Yeah.
speak Spanish?
Man, unfortunately, I don't, and I got, you know, I'm Colombian, and so like I gotta learn to like make moms proud, and like just be able to have a conversation with her in Spanish, and
Pick up
like,
a few things.
yeah, and plus, you know, I want to go to Colombia and like travel, and like, you know, it's a dominant language across a large section of the world, and it's like, you know, especially my culture also, so it's. Yeah, I gotta learn. I gotta get up on my
Yeah,
Rosetta Stone, my
I suck on that too,
Duolingo.
bro. Oh my
Bumble,
God.
Duolingo,
Yeah, all that.
I'm actually like in the middle, right? A movie on something similar to that aspect.
yeah.
Translation.
No, I
so
love
some
that.
in
That's
Spanish.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They were
something
up-
along
yeah.
those lines.
Yeah, so
Yeah, no,
anyway.
that's genius.
That way, one,
Right on.
again, we're
Thank
able
you.
to kind of
That needs to be a full feature, bro.
We're
That's
gonna. That's-
Oh, it is, it is.
I'm in the
Oh,
middle.
okay,
of it.
okay.
Dude, I'll show you. I'll tell you later on.
No,
so we
that's
don't have to
genius,
talk.
bro.
But
That's
I got, dude.
that's a fucking
I'm
winner
gonna show
right
you
there.
who,
part, yeah.
the Colombian. I'm like, oh my
That
god.
could be
I'm gonna show
huge,
you.
bro.
Watch, dude.
No,
I'm like, come on. It's like almost. It's just all in my head. I'm doing everything. Like it's just like I'm just been telling him shit. He's just be like, yeah, that's dope. Oh fuck, what the fuck? I'm just
No,
I
like,
mean, bro, it's the
spewing
same
it,
thing with a
spewing it,
beat.
spewing
It's
it.
something I got in my head, and I put
Right,
it,
right.
I
and
can
you just you're
visualize
making
it.
it real.
Well, everything starts off as a thought, you know, and that's one of the questions I have that we could get to right now. Is that's what I want to know. So, like, the evolution of your thought, but what goes into, like, you know, the logistics of making it be like, well, what do you like me, for example, if I'm gonna writing scripts, I for sure got to roll some or take a dab hit or, you know what I mean? I get in the zone. Okay, I start like, what's your little setup? How do you got to get into the zone?
I mean, I always like to start with the melody first because the melody is such a strong part of the actual music, and it really, like, I prefer to tailor my drums around the natural rhythm of the melody. So like I either start off with playing something, or, you know, I got a lot of other producers that I work with that are sample makers that send me tons of stuff, loops and starters to work on, and start with that, start with some drums, bass, or 808, depending on what kind of beat it is, what kind of vibe it is, and then add different little ear candy, add some other instruments based on how the arrangement is. Like after I got like pretty much the vibe going and I got enough content to be able to take things in and out, then I really concentrate on the arrangement of the beat, like how everything is structured, how, you know, things are balanced, instruments that come in and out. And then based on getting that initial structure, I'll see whether it's like done or like, oh, now that I've mapped it all out, it needs this other one thing, you know what I mean? And then like do that. But definitely, like, it helps if a producer makes their tracks approachable in a sense, because like at the end of the day, like, unless you're like putting out an instrumental album and it's like all about the music, at the end of the day the final instrument is the artist. And so you don't want to make your beat like so crazy where it's like, bro, I don't even have any room in here.
Right.
It's like when, like, if it's like 10 people are like screaming in a room and like you're trying to make a speech, and it's like, well, I have no space here to live. And so like sometimes not making the beat done like done to the millionth degree, that's not such a bad thing sometimes. And like maybe also like not like doing any like definitive lead lines, you know what I mean? Like unless it's just like a killer melody that you can already like hum the hook to, kind of with matching that melody, which happens sometimes. But like, you know, you don't want to limit an artist to be locked into this one melody that they may have something better that you're not even hearing that could be life-changing. And so like it you definitely want to like give a beat to an artist, especially when you have like a close relationship with the artist where they're like you know, building like a you know, a long-term rapport with, kind of maybe bring it 90% and then give it to them. And like, you know, you can always go in and post, and you just like a film, and add different things after they lay vocals, and like, you know, there's a lot of different options.
I hope you people are paying attention. He just gave you all the game in the world right there. And if you ain't paying attention, that's on you. But no, that's incredible, man. I mean, it's just great to hear, you know, somebody else's process and how they do it. And I mean, we're just like you. You know, we create, we sit there, we think about it, we start arranging things, you know, trying to bring it all together so that the finished product is like, you know,
Amazing.
Entertaining, amazing, something, you know, remarkable that people continue to talk about.
That's it.
That's it.
Who can you tell me who are the elevators? The elevators, like, let everybody know about them.
So the Elevators were like a collective that we started.
Was Cos part of that?
Oh yeah,
Cos, yeah,
Cosmo,
that's right, that's
Genesee,
right. Oh, hell
yeah. Yeah,
my
that's
boy
right.
Danny Dutch from Brooklyn,
I go way back with
Champelli.
Cosmo,
Yeah, hell yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
my brother
That's
for
folks,
forever. Yeah,
definitely good people. For
Hell
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, Cos,
Shout out to
Pacino.
Cos, yeah.
Cos Pacino.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
name
man.
is way back.
Yeah, that's my
Way
guy.
back.
Yeah, we actually met when he was doing that album. So like this was like
Awesome.
I was probably like 15 years. I know Cos since I was 15
Okay.
years, 14, 15 years
Okay.
old. Like I wasn't even doing music yet. Like I was just hanging out with my older brother, really, and like just, you know, moving around with him. And we were at Laughing Tiger Studios out here in San Rafael,
Yeah.
and Kaz was getting a couple beats for my brother, and it was like the first time they were even working together. So we really all came together like on the same day. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, we me and Cobbs have done very instrumental in Burner's career, and done.
Definitely, I've seen your guys' names stacked with each other a lot.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's my guy.
Can't do some
Oh man, blessings,
man.
bro.
Just
Sheesh,
in time, just in time.
Sheesh.
We almost ran out.
man,
Oh, thank you. We almost ran out.
man.
but
Shout out
now-
to Choke Exotics for real.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's fire.
So speaking of
Fire,
working
hell
with
yeah,
other
hell yeah.
artists and stuff, like you kind of already answered it, but like how do you approach like trying to do a collaboration with somebody like maybe you haven't worked with already that you're trying to work with? Is it like like we do? Is like we have D-Shot call so or somebody we know knows them, calls them, gets them in contact, and then we do something.
So while I definitely have artists that I have great relationship and ties with, like I'm never too proud to work with anyone that I feel like there can be some musical synergy with, and sometimes it's people that I don't have any relationships with, and then so there's a couple of different strategies, like everyone's gonna send a DM, which we can get into the guidelines later of how to properly do that and what not to do. But sometimes it's if you want to, let's just say there's an artist you want to work with, maybe start by producing for one of his artists, someone that's 1 degree of separation away from who you want to work with, that's maybe more approachable and maybe is more receptive to a DM or something like that. It might be more down to work and maybe build a rapport with them. Like a lot of times if you do a good amount of songs with someone that's in the same camp as the main artist who you want to work with, chances are they're going to get a feature from this person and it's going to be your track, and that's the perfect segue. Even if the natural thing didn't happen where that artist now reached out to you, you can still reach out to them, and this is how to properly DM, where you DM something that has some sort of relevant info that you're trying to put across to kind of illustrate who you are, where you're not kind of asking for a handout. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
you can't approach as if you want someone's respect, you can't approach as a fan.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, it's just
Exactly.
the reality of things. You know what I mean? You want to, and partly is respecting that person's boundaries and space, and not just being so quick to fucking jump on their shoulders talking
You gotta
about
think.
something
Everybody's
that
doing
you
that.
want. You gotta always, and this is one of the 48 laws of power. You gotta appeal to the other person's agenda. It can't be a self-serving thing.
Right.
Oh please. That's another reason why I love producing. And when networking is because if I'm an artist and you're a huge artist, let's just say you're Snoop and I'm trying to get a verse from you, and I'm like,
For
Snoop,
shizzle.
please, can you hop on this song? Basically, you're can you help me?
Right.
With a producer, it's more you're reaching out to, let's just say, Snoop, and I'm saying how can I help you with your next endeavor, with your next hit? Be of service. Always lead with value and be of service. You know what I mean? And don't always, try to get something for yourself. Sometimes start by giving, and that just goes back to putting in work overall in the game. You gotta put in years and years and years. Even right now, the perception is I'm this guy, whatever. Man, we're all one hit away, and there's always work to be done, and so you always got to just keep striving and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Keep moving to the next.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask real quick. Now I want to know about the Noble House music group. Are you that's your old school, your original group or something? or?
That was Jen's label, or that
Oh,
is
okay, that was your
that's
brother's
Jen's
label.
label.
Oh, okay.
he's been putting out records under that.
Oh, okay,
imprint
that's
for-
his. Okay,
Yeah, for
okay.
forever.
Okay, I seen it before, but I never tripped.
Yep,
Okay,
Yep.
right on, dope.
That was
right on.
definitely the roots to a lot of stuff. You know,
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's it. Working. That's it. It's just work. So,
I like Genesee.
so
My back, he got the hip hop swag. He's like hip hop the fuck out.
I
You feel
love
me?
that.
He's
Hell
hip
yeah.
hop.
I'm sure I heard
For
all
real.
this shit. It was on Mac Dre and all,
Yep,
those
yep.
type of things. But the company, Intellectual Property Collections, this
Yes,
question
sir.
is just for that.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've heard Snoop talk about it, heard other artists talk about it, but like, what are your thoughts right now on the current state of the music industry?
Oh, man.
In terms of the, streaming technology
Man.
and the challenges that artists face to get paid. I mean, this I hope is
This
like
might
right in your
crash.
wheelhouse.
This question might crash the airwaves.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, this interview is turned
Yeah,
into
this
like an
might-
infomercial. We have to charge people $20 to get all this.
Yeah,
we
this,
have to
this might
subscribe
cause an
to this.
earthquake. I don't even
We
know.
have to subscribe to this for
that's,
sure.
Again, your company being Intellectual Property Collections.
Correct.
Yeah, like what? Give us your thoughts on the state of this streaming.
Oh,
shit.
man.
a billion
This-
streams, $50 or whatever. Tell us,
Man,
about
if I didn't love this music, I should be a lawyer. You know what I mean? The state of the music business is way too much for most people, even musicians, to comprehend. Because it takes really like removing the pillars of everything that you think is real. Which is kind of, I know, a little convoluted, but this music business is definitely not what it seems. And there's a few parties that control this whole thing, and it's not really set up for us to win.
Yeah, I mean, I know somebody's making the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I mean, I just got these distributors.
I feel like people getting like we're getting like people like with the intellectual property stuff, like everybody's getting like hip to it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And they're figuring out their bullshit.
A little bit, yeah. Like
'Cause-
definitely, like we're in an era where the information is thankfully readily available, even if you didn't go to like traditional schools for like business and music business. Like YouTube University is an amazing thing, and like people are definitely hip to the awareness of what's going on. And, obviously that itch is like, I got to do something about this. And honestly, that was why I started Intellectual Property Collections, is because I saw a problem combined with an aspect of the business that represented so much revenue for musicians and different other things like legislation that at the time that was about to be passed, which was the Music Modernization Act. And it was I had to do it. Like it was, it became my mission. And I have so many obviously being a producer for such a long time, and working with so many different people, we're all can we curse on here?
Yeah.
We're all fucked.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we're all fucked. And there's artists that, I'm not going to mention any names, but that are legacy, like all time, like, top 20, top 10 rapper list artists that are missing like, 3/4 of their catalog, like 2,000 songs unregistered. Like, you would think that certain people, certain artists that are even backed by major companies have their stuff together, and they don't.
Right.
And I don't know. It's like, I just don't see how certain entities can operate like that. Like, we're really aggressive with what we do, and we really fight for our clients at every angle. And catalog management is a huge part of that.
We are back in the building.
Yes, sir.
Max Perry Music, a.k.a. Maxwell Smart.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
boy. It's going good so far. We had to take a little, break for our sponsor. And now we're back in the building. We're just talking about damn near everything. We gave everybody the whole game of how to be a producer, how to arrange a beat, how to deal with the music and intellectual property. Like, she's let's
We kind of want to get more into like what the intellectual property collections is, so
Yeah.
people can understand what's going on with that.
Happy to. Yeah.
yeah.
So we are a full service publishing administration company and sync licensing agency. So we we have clients, we administer / register their songs, collect royalties on their behalf, account, make payments, issue statements, handle sync deals, and properly manage and stay on top of our clients' catalog and try to bring as much revenue from their music to to the client as possible.
Make sure you get paid.
Yep.
Man,
Dope.
what an honorable thing to do, man. We're thankful that you're doing that for real. Like, I mean, man, like I said, being a creative artist, I know, like, everybody's out there to take your creativity. Yeah, well, just, like, how many ideas have we put out there that, they get picked up or done, and it's because whatever, maybe they have more resources, or maybe they don't, whatever, I mean, this business is, like you said, there's just no rules to it whatsoever. So in navigating it, I think you have to be, like you said, diligent about knowing your business, knowing, what intellectual property is. Obviously, that's an important one too. But also how to mainly navigate through the business. And so my next question for you is kind of relative to navigating the business. How do you deal with like negative criticism or I don't know, constructive criticism that, how does it affect you when you go back in the studio, or do you take that like
musically?
Yeah, music, like somebody says, man, this is,
It
I've
doesn't
heard
faze me at
better.
all. It doesn't faze me at all. Like, because
Right.
at the end of the day, like, I'm really making music for myself. That's been my thing, like, since I started. I'm really like, I'm doing it to please myself, and hopefully the key is you do something that pleases yourself, and hopefully it resonates with everyone else. And when it does, it's amazing. And when it doesn't, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, because the same thing with, getting hung up on your accolades. If you're, once again, in this music for the right reasons, you don't get hung up on that. So it's like, if you're in it to make music to please yourself, then what someone else says can't touch you. But, sometimes on the flip side, sometimes people give you game that you need to hear in order to grow as an artist. So, it really depends on the situation and like who it's coming from and like, the circumstances.
Yeah, everything
So,
has
yeah.
its place, right?
It all has its place, yeah.
That's sick, man.
I mean, you can't be like, honestly, like, you can't be like, just even as a person on some like human shit, like you can't be impervious to learning. Like you can't, the number one thing, this is the number one thing that I look for in working with an artist. Are you coachable? If you're not coachable, I can't work with you, period. Because if like I'm telling you to do something a certain way, and of course, like, you always want to leave artistic freedom up to the actual artist,
Sure.
you know what I mean? But sometimes experience, like sometimes how to attain what your goal is musically, like going right to it, just from, doing.
It can be technical where you know what you need to accomplish.
Yeah.
And they might not understand that necessarily.
Yep. So like,
get that.
being coachable is definitely like a huge thing. So like, can't be too proud to learn. If you're not learning, you're not living. And
So a lot of game already from you in terms of, like I said, the music business, how to navigate it, how to make a beat, all that stuff. Let's just we haven't had a list, but let's talk about the artists that you've worked with. Like you're probably better off in naming them. That and do you have a favorite that you like to work with repeatedly, or?
Definitely, Kodak Black, Burner. It was great working with Post Malone. That was definitely like a high moment.
You was in the studio with him and everything.
With Post, yeah.
And that was his first album.
Yeah, I recorded
So
Money
you got
Made Me Do
a
It.
3 times platinum plaque at the house.
So I'm like literally in the process of
Okay.
ordering it, but I think it's like 5 times now.
That's it, yeah. Hell yeah.
Man,
Yeah,
it's all
No,
right.
that is sick. I mean, the only one I've actually seen in person is, D-Shot and 40 and them. They got a couple Tupac plaques that are like,
Fire.
10, 11 times
Oh, yeah,
platinum.
yeah.
And
My
you
boy got
see
one
it
of
and it's
those.
like,
Yeah,
it's
and it's
pretty
crazy.
impressive. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's, again, like you said, the accolades, although, you take them with a grain of salt, put them
You know what
aside,
it
they're
is? It's
still
really
cool.
it's really for other people.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
for
really
sure.
like, once again,
what makes people proud for you,
Of
like
course.
pops, family,
Of course.
like wow.
but like, back to what we were saying before, like, we don't have many like definitive moments to be like, hey, we're successful. You know what I mean? Like for normal people, for people that are outside of, these passion careers, film and music, sports even, you know what I mean? Like, people that are just, living like great regular lives, you know what I mean? Like, they don't understand fully until, like, even a lot of my family, like, they probably didn't understand what the hell I was doing until I got a Grammy nomination. And then
Right.
they were like, oh, okay, he must be doing something. You
Right,
know what I mean?
right.
Like,
Once they see the plaque and hear about the
Yeah,
nominations, it's
so-
like, okay, yeah, good job for Max.
so, yeah, it's really for other people to, because at the end of the day, like, you have to value yourself. Bottom line. Like, even, like, with charging a certain dollar amount for beats, like, you gotta, or a verse, whatever the case may be, or a shirt, like, you gotta value yourself. So ultimately, whatever value you put on yourself, that's what it's gonna be. So you could be the dollar guy, the $100 guy, or the $100,000 guy. It's your choice. And you're not like, the higher you go up on Mount Everest, you're not for everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, definitely.
like you gotta separate yourself. You gotta decide what level you want to be on, and this all happens before you do anything. You know what I mean? You gotta visualize what niche you want to be in, and like, you gotta set big heights for yourself. Like, we all do. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the artist I was waiting for you to mention, I'm sure you would, but we got hyped on the Post Malone thing. But J Boog,
oh yeah,
the
J-Boog, yeah,
the
shout out to
island
Boog, hell
sound,
yeah.
Hawaii, like how's it, Wash House and the whole,
Man,
island thing.
Wash House is family forever. It's Wash House forever. And
Wash House, baby.
hell yeah, shout out to Scoo, shout out to Jonas, Anuatu,
The Well.
and yeah, man, like, Wash House was a big reason why I was able to segue into a professional musician spot. You know what I mean? Like, because I came out here from Brooklyn in 2008. Because I been doing work out here for years, selling beats, doing music, record shopping,
It's
like
time to move.
smoking the best tree on earth, and like,
Amen, right?
and I was, thinking to myself, like, and kind of like New York was kind of in a dry spell as far as musical identity. The South was killing it, and New York was trying to find a place in all that.
It was almost trying to copy the South. Like,
Kind of a little bit, yeah. It was a bad era, you know what I mean? And then also, like, some of the best studios were closing down and turning into condos because it was
Oh
more
my
profitable
God.
that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, the environment didn't have the establishments to be able to, like, accommodate artists. So a lot of people went to Miami and went to LA. So New York kind of lost something, even though there's always amazing studios in New York. Like, it's still New York, you know what I mean? But so, and then I was thinking, like, where can I go to do music full time? And like, it took a couple years. Like, I was working at Guitar Center for a couple years and doing my thing, still getting placements. Like, I got, like, I was getting some high paying placements at the time, still behind the counter at Guitar Center, still just double hustling.
Right,
And,
because it seems like you're practical. I mean, you got to still
Yeah,
gotta earn
yeah.
a living, right?
Yeah. And meeting, linking back up because I knew Jonas through my older brother when I was once again just going around with him, like, you know, while he was doing music for people, and
Because he was doing like the Mac Dre shit. and
exactly,
he was
yeah,
on
doing the Mac Dre shit, working on Vitals project, and so, you know, another mutual friend hooked me and Jonas up, and, you know, I started engineering and producing for Wash House and for Boog and their other artists, and like
Morgan Heritage.
Morgan Heritage, yeah, Fiji, you know, shout out my brother Fiji.
Oh yeah, Fiji.
And
Junior Reed.
yeah, Junior Reed, yep, shout out to Junior Reed for sure.
One
Gappy
blood.
Ranks. That, you know, all doing all that different work kind of helped me, and like running all the Wash House studios, like both in Berkeley and in Hawaii, like really gave me the work in order to support myself as a musician. And then, you know, going through the years and doing all the Burn stuff and then doing Kodak stuff, like, you know, it was definitely a big conduit into professional musicianship, if for lack of a better term. And yeah, always grateful to Joe and to Wash House for that, you know.
Oh yeah.
Still,
How'd you do? My bad. How'd you do how'd you get hooked up with Trina and that Live Jennings song?
oh man, that was actually the placement I was thinking of when I was at Guitar Center.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was one of them.
There it is.
All
You were
right.
hella insightful with
It was
that.
all those hard hours at Guitar Center.
Yeah. I think I made that beat on my lunch break, and like,
Oh, shit.
and then I sent it to Kaz, and he did some stuff on top of it. That was something me and Kaz did together. But
Did you use the instruments at Guitar Center to make that beat?
no, I didn't. I thankfully I had my stuff, but
You said on your lunch you had to set up in the car. Or how did it-
well, no, I was like 3 or 4 blocks. I lived 3 or 4 blocks
Okay.
from so I would go home, make some beats, smoke, and then like go back to work. But yeah, we got linked up through to Trina through her writer Showtime. So we had just been sending him beats, and then like, you know, he was like, "Yo, I got something," and pitched it to Trina. She did it.
Dope.
Got Life Jennings on it.
Man,
That was dope.
Hell yeah, that was
How about with
bro,
Migos?
yes, sir. Oh, Migos. That was man, classic records that we did with Burn. Pass Me the Green.
Okay. Oh, that track. Okay.
Yeah, Pass Me the
Okay,
Green. Me
Okay.
and Kaz did that.
That
and then
Master P cover.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly,
Yep.
yep. And then Nice for Burner and Paul Wall and Quavo.
hell yeah, Paul Wall. I love Paul Wall.
Man, Paul Wall's a homie. He's
Oh,
cool.
he's
Like,
Mr.
dope.
Fab, you work with Mr. Fab too?
That's my brother
I
for
love
like
Mr. Fab too,
20
yeah.
years. Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I just love his music because like he still goes deep with it. Like, you know what I mean? On his
that's when he's at his best.
well on his like
Real rap
Son
shit.
of a Pimp Part 2 it was
Yep,
like the
yep.
brother to brother song. There's a couple songs on there that just were like it's like damn, this dude really like you
No,
know?
he really does.
Yeah,
It's
he
like
goes
he's,
deep. Yeah.
There's not many people that just like really do this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it's kind of like now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe back in the day there was a people don't care about music anymore. It's crazy. We've all become
I think the generation is like
dispensable.
I think what it is they just have more to occupy their interest with.
Well, that too.
You know what I mean? You know,
That
back
too.
in the day, like you know,
But music in general became very dispensable. You know what I
I
mean?
think
And
so.
like,
I don't know why.
our
I don't
value
think, I don't
got
think it is-
diluted.
yeah, I don't think it is to us, the
Saturated.
people
I mean-
that like music, but yeah, the whole, just the industry in general kind
I
of took
mean-
a weird turn.
think about how people consumed music. So like back in the day with a CD or a vinyl, like in order to consume that music, besides radio, of course, you had to spend like $20. You know what I mean? Now it's like $10 a month and you get every song ever created.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like that
Right.
value
Suck.
went
Went
For
down.
sure.
down.
Yeah, no, I mean it's weird. I mean, just like the weed industry. I mean, the weed man. I
Oh, my
remember
God.
when pounds used to be thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, $500.
Yeah.
$1,000, $1,200. It's like, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird to see industries change like that, but I mean, it never fails to happen. It just happens in every which means in especially in our industry, you need to recreate yourself from time to time.
You gotta roll with the
and
punches.
always be on the new cusp of what's
Yes.
coming, and
Yeah.
and that's what we try to do. I mean, again, this podcast
Adapt.
was for that, to create a platform that we could get our creative projects directly to our consumer, as
That's
opposed
it.
to going through these distributors again to take 50% and don't
Building
necessarily
avenues,
like I
man,
say, you gotta
like we were talking
go
about.
for the treasure hunt to get paid from them.
Mm-hmm.
We're tired of that, so that's what we're trying to build, our own grassroots organic platform that will showcase a lot of our stuff and the things that are relative to what we're doing.
I can
Go
dig
watch
it,
them
man.
all on YouTube.
Yeah, go
Obstacles.
Yeah,
Don't
Tubi,
get caught.
yeah, Tubi.
Tubi.
Don't get
Tubi,
caught.
my bad.
Obstacles, Adam and Eve. There's a bunch of Sex in the Studios one that we did, and a lot of we got pulled into this tractor beam of the documentary world. So we've been working on like
I love
Tangled
documentaries.
Roots is one, about the legacy.
Psychedelic Revolution.
Yeah, marijuana
Oh,
farmers, psychedelic revolution. Who killed Les Crane?
It's coming soon.
Marijuana activist that was killed. And so, yeah, I mean, all this stuff is just, that's what we do. I mean, no matter what, like you said,
Now
it's
we're trying
You're
to do
putting
our
me
own
onto
thing.
game now.
well,
Nah,
what,
for real.
well,
I
what
love
it is
documentaries.
well, we're coming together, and that's what it is like you never know along the way, like who you're gonna meet, who you're gonna end up building relationships with, and that's kind of that's what this podcast is really about. I mean,
And life in
we
general.
have- yeah. That's well, that's what it is. We're trying to create a platform that again spreads love, positivity, unity in the environment that we want to create for the Bay Area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of negativity, just like anywhere else. But like for
You got to
us,
be the change you want to see.
that's it. Yeah, I had a concept that I want to do a long time ago that I'm sure I mentioned it to Ross and Dave here, but instead of like you watch the news every day, it's just all bad news. You know what I mean? We wanted to do just the good news, like nothing but
Man. That's
Exactly.
that was heavy right
well,
there.
It's raining in the bad news is it's raining in San Francisco, but the good news is in Florida it's 90 degrees right now. You know what I mean? Something that just puts a twist on.
Miguel
Or
Lopez
man,
just won the lottery.
or one where they literally only show the good news.
And
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly.
Like,
Like
they literally
Exactly.
do
in-
not
in
like
the
that would
news
be a
today,
life changer.
We had a lady who fed, the homeless people today. She made them peanut butter. Hey, what's up, Susie? That type of just, again, just something that was completely not like,
Those people are
Again.
getting locked up now.
fuck, bad news. I know you spread good news. It's dangerous.
Yeah, you
For real.
can.
Ain't no money in that. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The moguls.
I think
no money in
we've
it.
covered a lot of stuff.
I got some more shit. Let me see.
hit them up, but
Man,
I
where's our
definitely wanna-
where's our section about pizza?
yeah.
we'll get there. We're gonna get there. So, when you was in the studio, with Post Malone, I just want to know like how that was like.
Man,
like
that
you
was-
got smoking, drinking, shit like that.
Yeah, that
Like,
was cool. My homie.
What was y'all drinking? Like, how
I
long
don't
were y'all in
remember.
there for?
I don't remember exactly what we were drinking or if we were drinking.
And
but-
you were like just more like on the beats and like you like this.
I was. There's part of that situation I regret, and I'll get into why. But basically that started out my boy Young LB, founder of Runts. He was, on a tour stop with our other homie Germ Jilla, and
Yeah,
who
there's
were
all
cool.
those both of the folks.
Yeah,
Germs
yeah.
the artist.
Hell yeah.
LB's the homie.
Yep,
Tongan.
Yep. And they were cool with FKI first and post, and they wanted a studio to record. Bankroll Fresh, R.I.P. just had passed away, and kind of like was in that mode, and like really wanted to get in the lab, and I was head engineer at the Grill Studios in Emeryville, which I run as studio manager now, and the IPC office is there. I was at the studio, and we had a session from like I think it was like 9 or 10 o'clock till like 8 the next morning, and recorded Money Made Me Do It from his first album, and I was just in there playing beats. Me and FKI were playing beats back and forth, and so now to the part that I regret. So when FKI was making the beat, just based off like playing beats, and he was feeling like feeling what I was playing, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't try to like be like, hey, let me add something to that, so I can get on the production side instead of just on the engineering side.
Right.
But at the time, I was trying to go by the engineer ethics code and not kind of try to insert myself in someone else's situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like just trying to be there to help and be of service and but yeah, that's definitely like
Should have inserted yourself in the situation.
yeah, and just be like, hey, can I add a melody? Can I add a drum? Can I, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even though
for
like
sure.
that beat is kind of like on the simpler side, so who knows? It might have went into like overproduction, which people can overproduce beats and like do too much. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, it's a slap though.
but yeah,
with two
besides that,
chains.
you know, proud to be part of a legendary situation, even a minor role.
Of course.
And yeah,
That's dope because like that was his first album, so you didn't know like he was gonna blow up like he was.
he when we met, like he literally just found out at the session that he was going on tour with Bieber, and that was like his first
Whew.
big tour.
That's a big one.
Man,
Like
Justin,
his album
the
wasn't
Biebs.
out yet.
Shout
Like
out to the Biebs out
Yeah,
there.
shout
man,
out
for
to
real,
the
Bieber,
Holler
Bieber.
at us, Biebs. We trying to talk to you, buddy. That's
so
sick.
yeah, definitely
Yeah.
that was
Cool
definitely
AD.
a great moment for
My bad.
for
You know,
sure.
Cool AD, the rapper that we're gonna have on
Yeah,
here too.
yeah.
He has that one of his songs. He be like Bieber, Bieber, Bieber. You ever heard of Cool AD? I'm putting him on. He's gonna be a guest, but he's hard as fuck.
That's it.
Das Racist. It's a group. DAS Racist.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
It's Himanshu. This
I didn't know. I didn't know if it was a group or an artist.
It was
like,
just two. It was so it's two dudes. It's three dudes really, but it's two rappers. One the dude
Gotcha.
rap. It's two Punjabi dudes and one Cuban dude.
Damn.
Cuban dudes from Alameda. The Punjabi dudes are
shit.
from Queens, New York. And as
Okay.
first East Coast West Coast duo. And I'm giving them props because
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna have on the
crazy.
show.
That's
Yeah, they're hard
nice.
as fuck. They're intelligent dudes. They rap some silly sometimes, but then sometimes they rap on some dope ass hip hop. You're like, oh, what the fuck?
I gotta tap in and
Yeah,
check some shit
I'm gonna
out.
put you on
Hell
afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah,
hell
for
yeah.
sure. Cool AD, shout out, man. Yeah, can't wait to have you on, man.
For sure.
For
Can't
real.
wait for that. Before we forget, I definitely want to make sure we're able to talk about, if you want to, upcoming projects or future plans that you want to share with us that, you know, if anything, you know.
I mean, not specifically because you know things change. Like if I say like, oh, I'm working on this album,
Don't
like,
want to jinx yourself.
yeah, you don't want to jinx yourself, and like
Right.
you know, realistically, you know, there might be a record on there, and the record might get taken off the week before the album comes out, which has happened before, and that happens for a multitude of reasons. Like there may be two records that kind of sound similar, so it's got to be either or. There might have been an issue with getting the clearances. We might have had a sample. Like I've had stuff not be used because there was a sample and the situation was a little tricky to get the clearance. And so like, but I mean, man, just making good music, getting, you know, working with different artists and really pushing IPC to the forefront and, you know, make it available for, you know, people to get the help they need.
Yeah, so just
Dope.
stay tuned, man. He's got a lot of
Dope.
stuff coming, but
Yeah.
we won't make it specific.
How'd you hook up with the Grill?
So
The Grill Studios.
So yeah, my homie Lev, that
Yeah, Lev did the produce Mob Figures album.
Yep,
Lev,
yep.
Lev's the homie.
yep, Lev's a homie.
I met him
Done
a
a
couple
lot of
times.
legendary
Shout out to
stuff as
Lev.
well. Shout out to Lev. I was when we finished working in Hawaii, we came back to California and
So okay, that's after Hawaii. Okay.
yeah, this
Dope.
was after Hawaii.
Okay.
We shut down the Hawaii studio, came back to California. I was in the process of having a kid, so there was that. I had to be in California, and we needed a studio. So Lev had like kind of two different, like the Grill split in two, and so we started renting.
He has a few. He has like 4 or 5 studios in there. Huh?
Yeah, if you guys, we got like 4 or 5 rooms in there, and but it was separated. So there was the wash house room, and then there was 2 rooms at the Grill.
Okay.
And I was running the studios for Wash House, and then, you know, the Wash House studio was more like, you know, it was like our personal studio for the label to work with art. It was like a professional writing house more
Right.
than like a studio for rent kind of thing.
Right, the commercial, like for
Yeah,
rent studio,
exactly.
yeah.
But I needed to work.
Right.
So I was, begging Lev to work for probably like 3 weeks. It took I'm like, bro, I need to work. Bro, I need to work. Bro, I'm available for sessions. Like, bro, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, other people had an intern. I begged for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And I eventually, started working at the grill and, became one of the head engineers there, and then came back last year to start running the studio as a studio manager and, helping Lev with, a lot of the day-to-day operations and stuff
Dope.
like that. But
That's sick. Yeah,
That's
the
dope.
grill's been around a long time.
man, legendary
We
spot.
shot, Tino, you remember shooting the Max Sean commercial at the grill? Many, many, many years ago. This is 20. He's like, we did that? Yeah. Max Sean.
I was gonna say,
It was a commercial for Max Sean, yeah.
Did I hold up the light up high above the ladder?
I think so, yeah. Remember when they were walking down the hallway? Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's funny.
Legendary.
This is, 20-something years
That's
ago.
crazy.
Max Sean commercial.
was gonna say, what's the best amateur setup for like new musicians trying to come up, new producers?
Okay, so first is the computer. You need the computer is like the brain of everything, obviously. Like, that's where all the software runs.
Does it
all
matter
your
like is it
plugins,
Apple
your
or
sounds.
does it matter? certain
Ooh,
type of
we got-
RAM, certain type
we
of
got-
gigs.
we
You're
got
about to expose yourself right now. You Mac
not
or
expose
PC guy.
myself, but like kind of like give you like the state of things. Like, and my brother GTB, we always get into this debate.
All right, time. Sorry. So here we are back in the building. We were at Computer, the DAW,
Interface,
the
mics.
interface.
Get your interface.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's your
plugins.
ins and outs to the computer.
And then you could be the next Max Perry.
I doubt it. but-
Maybe, maybe not.
Nah, man, we're
And the microphone. You need a microphone though, right?
yeah, you definitely need a microphone. All right, so there's a couple elements in your studio that you don't skimp on. Like, how they say like when you buy a bed, you spend a couple of extra bucks on your bed because you spend a third of your life on the bed. Like, there's just certain things that you gotta get the quality for. Like, certain things kind of don't matter. Certain things really do matter. Your speakers and your microphone are definitely the two most important things in a studio, because the microphone is what sends that information in the computer, and the speakers are what the computer is pumping out. So all those kind of like filter points, like, they gotta be high quality. And but yeah, computer, software, interface, speakers, but then unfortunately there's all the little wires. Maybe you need a desk, like a dedicated desk that's set up for that application. Might need speaker stands. You might need isolation pads. You might need to get a whisper room, or like a portable booth, mic stand, pop filter. You might want to get a reflection filter.
How much you
in
think
there.
they'll have to spend for something like a nice little, like decent little, like mid, not too the lowest, but like not too high, but like, you know what I mean?
Some solid.
5,000-10,000 or something, more than that.
Something like in that range.
5,000,
Yeah.
okay.
Because like, in my
But it's
opinion,
an investment. But it's an
Yeah,
investment.
yeah,
You
like
invest in
that.
yourself.
like in my
Yeah.
opinion, like I said, the whole mic thing, like, you don't want to get a $300 mic. You know what I mean? Like, spend a couple extra bucks on the mic. Like, get like a TLM 103 at least, which is a great mic that's made by Neumann, not Newman, by the way, for everyone who mispronounces that.
I got
It's
a Newman mic, and that's
Yeah.
funny. I was thinking that you were saying Newman.
So, and that's like, I think like 1,100 or something like that. So it doesn't even, like, sometimes you got to hold out and just stack up a little extra to get the right tool for that. Like, my dad always said, like, get the right tool for the job.
Quality, yep, for
Oh,
sure.
it's-
The right
quality.
tool for the job makes the job easier.
It does.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't have to
100%.
struggle trying to attain the same thing that this right here, if you have it, is literally designed for.
Right.
Like, so why kid yourself? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like, let's save a little more money, man. Come on, guys, save a little more money. We're gonna definitely have some kind of financial guru on at some point to teach people how to save money and work with money as well. But for now, we're talking
Hell
about
yeah.
how to become the next hottest producer with the basic setup and basically investing in yourself. On top of that, I mean, do you recommend going into the music business to anybody, or
Oh
like
my
what's
God.
what's your advice to somebody going into, like, there's your 16-year-old self? What would your advice be to that kid right
I'm
now?
not sure, man. This is not for the weak. Like, this It's not for the faint of heart. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone that does this, that chooses to really jump off that cliff, is a little crazy. We're all like artists. We're all like,
And you gotta understand, like it ain't just gonna be music anymore. Like now you're getting into like sharks.
man.
It's a different story. Like
It's
it's
a
just like you might be like, I
shark-infested
love music, I want
waters.
to do music, but once you get in the industry, it's a whole different fucking level. You can't be no bitch, nigga. You gotta fucking grab your fucking balls and handle business.
Right.
Or you get fucking
Especially
ran the fuck
in the
over,
cutthroat
nigga, bulldozer.
industries, Yeah.
You
For
definitely
sure.
gotta have thick skin. You gotta be able to withstand. And but you know, a lot of that comes from the company you keep. You know what I mean?
That's it.
A lot of it is the choices we make and the company we keep, and you know, you
I
don't
believe that.
you
yeah.
don't always have to hang out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes
100%.
like that's why I like being a producer. I could be behind the scenes and be invisible. You know what I mean? Like fame is not what I got into this for. I got into it for the love of the craft, my family legacy, and really like the respect of my peers, like the people that like I respect, attaining their respect. But it was never for like. It was really wasn't for the fans or anything like that. It was really more like a personal
No,
journey.
I could definitely respect
So-
that. I mean, I think it's the same way for us. Like,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily do it for the fan. We do it because we love
Live
to
it.
do this. Yeah,
Live
this,
it.
This is us.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
That's how you gotta, and like for those people, which is kind of rare, I say push harder than you ever pushed before. But if you're like kind of, I'm not sure, I kind of maybe want to experiment, like, no, don't do this. We have enough trespassers as is.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
sorry.
100%.
Trespassers. There's a lot of people that aren't meant to do this. This stuff is for the X-Men, not for the Batmans.
That's it. Yeah, you better be ready. Man,
Straight up.
Good
Yeah,
times
X-Men's have their powers. Batman bought some gadgets.
here. That's it.
What kind of music you be slapping? Like everything, or like a certain like, type of certain artist?
Man, I definitely listen to everything. Like hip hop is definitely like my first love, but I love like, you know, rock. I love reggae. I love.
Me too. I listen to everything.
I love
dude.
like different like
Funk.
pop music. Like I appreciate
electric alternative.
yeah
listen to
I
everything,
appreciate good songwriting and good song structures, and I appreciate like great melodies, and you know what I mean. So like that comes in all
Exactly.
shapes and forms, but.
And if it's a different language, you're like, oh, what's this? It slaps. I don't know what they're
Yeah.
saying, but
Yeah, I
I'll-
love all music except
Period.
Taylor Swift. No, I'm still sore
Taylor
from the
got some
Niners.
sla-
I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, of course,
I'll
of
say
course.
this: of course, her music's gotta be good. Otherwise, she wouldn't have a gazillion
Yeah, she got
followers
some
and all that.
slaps.
But right now, she's on my shit list. So
I feel it.
you know, until the Niners win, I can't.
That
let
was a
it
tough
go.
loss.
Can't let it go.
Who's your top 5 dead or alive?
Rappers?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just do the no order thing.
Right.
Yeah, of course. No order. No order.
And this is kind of like an overall. I don't know. It's so hard to quantify this, but Jay-Z's definitely there. Nas is definitely there. Man, I would say Kendrick is there too. Kendrick is fucking incredible. And then it might round out like. Damn, I'm trying to think. Like. Jay, Nas, Kendrick. Big is definitely, you know, Big Pac. Like I feel like we have goats of generations. Like, you know, in the
Yeah,
80s
I
it
can
was
see
probably
that.
like Kane, KRS-One, Rakim.
That makes more sense.
And
Yeah.
like
That makes more sense.
I don't know,
Definitely,
G-Rap
definitely.
or something like that. And
Cool
then like
G-Rap,
in the
for sure.
90s it was fucking Nas, Jay, Big, and Pac. And then like in the 2000s era it's like, you know, Cole, Kendrick, Drake. Oh, and Eminem. Oh no, actually it's more like Eminem.
I'm on Jada. I'm on Jada. Like I'm a
Jada's
Jada fan.
Jada's like, you know, Jada's definitely
I like
go.
Cormega. I
Cormega's
like
fire.
random shit. I like, you know what I'm saying? Papoose.
Hell yeah.
Papoose. I like Papoose. I don't know if they my. I mean, they might be my top 5. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, I like them underground dudes. That this you just hear them. You just hear that
Papoose is
struggle in
definitely
their
like a
voice. You know what I'm
solid,
saying?
solid, yeah.
That real shit. Like
Papoose been on his grind forever.
Papoose hard. I used to listen to his old mixtapes. Oh my
Yeah.
god. I was like, oh my, this dude was.
I
The
used
law
to-
libraries. The law libraries are. See, tells you like the whole entire law. Chapter 6287. Da, 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 da. I'm like, what the bro? Like,
Yeah.
you listen to his music, you can get out of jail.
So my boy,
For real.
my boy, who I said was the first person I ever sold a beat to, me, him, and the guy who hooked me up with him, who they started kind of like managing me, like as a producer, and was like busting plays for me, and like we used to like basically camp outside of fucking Hot 97, which was, you know, which is still like the main hip hop radio station in New York, to catch people while they're coming in and out of the radio
Nice.
station and give them beat CDs.
Genius.
And they just be
Genius.
out there like, you know, hustling, you know what I mean? And you know, Pap was actually out there grinding early, getting mixtapes
CDs.
off, and he was grinding, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was fucking with Slay and like had the end, but he was still grinding. So yeah, it was,
We met when we was in New York years ago. We met some dude, but I never could find this shit off the internet or nothing. I could never find it. It was
Oh, he talking about the
Caliber,
CD?
Caliber, the
Yeah.
Bronx Bomber.
Oh, he was sick, huh?
But, oh my, bro, he
Yeah.
had bars, and he was
Yeah.
spitting on like some big pun beats and shit. Oh my god,
Yeah.
he was some
Pun's
underground Manhattan
Pun's
dude.
one of the greatest ever.
Yeah,
also,
he's on my top 5. He for sure top
Pun
5,
is-
top
yeah.
3, top 3. I
Yeah,
can say.
Pun,
yeah,
Pun
I
for
think
sure.
like I feel like
Packing the
the next
come
next
on.
generation after the Big Pac, I think I'm glad we brought up Pun, Eminem.
Eminem's up there.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't a huge fan of Eminem, but just like I can recognize the talent.
Exactly. It's the
Pun,
shit, the way his
Eminem. Who else
wordplay
did you
is.
just say just in that? Oh, Kiss.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Kiss,
yeah,
Pun,
Kiss, yes, Kiss.
Eminem.
It's hard to pick with them 3 through like Chic, Styles, or Kiss. It's like, damn, they all hard. You know what I'm saying? But Kiss, I guess, they just has a little, you know
Man,
what I'm saying?
I'm
He
lucky
did
to-
a little more, I guess.
I'm lucky to have worked with all 3 of them on different
Oh,
on
Chic
different
Luch.
tracks.
Yeah.
You got seen with Chic?
So
yeah.
my first
Dude.
favorite was Chic.
Chic's the
Like
hardest. I ain't gonna
when
lie.
she
The
came out, it
gorilla,
was
the
something about the
silverback.
voice and the
What?
delivery, like it was crazy.
Uh-huh.
Hell
And
yeah.
then like, and then Kiss came and it was just like the punchlines were fucking crazy, and then it became him, and then like during like the We Gon' Make It and like I Get High kind of went to Styles, and then it went back to Jay.
Went back and
like,
forth. And then she
they're-
came out, Good Love, and all. Like, it's like, damn, it was. that
Man,
was
they're
crazy.
all 3 legends, man. Like
real.
they don't get.
They're the
enough-
hardest trio.
They don't get.
Ain't no
they
better
should
trio.
get. They,
I mean,
they're all
right.
time.
Maybe
They're one of the
Ghetto
best
Boys,
hip hop.
maybe Ghetto Boys.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
for real.
Ghetto
They're one of
Boys.
the best hip hop groups of all time. Like they're, like, you know what I'm
100%.
saying. Like I still listen to We Are the Streets. Like to this day, that shit's a classic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Sick. What instruments you play? Like
Shit. Like
keyboard, obviously.
yeah, keyboard. Piano, keyboard, whatever you want to call it.
Piano.
Play drums a tiny little bit, but like really like my biggest weapon is really my ear and like knowing how to put records together and
Nice.
knowing
Dope.
how things should sound and like what steps you have to do to attain a certain result, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, come with that finished product.
Come with that finished product, yeah.
Dope.
That's
And
it.
like mixing and mastering is a huge portion of that, and making sure shit's sounding good. Yeah.
Man.
All right, just about winding
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
here.
we're
You
good.
got anything else? I mean,
Yeah, I got a few more questions. We could. Yeah, I got. So, what do you love and hate about the music industry? What do you love and hate about the music industry?
I mean, fuck. I mean,
That's a lot. That's a lot.
obviously the first thing I love is, like I said before, like is the high that you get from making amazing music.
And then
you know-
someone rapping on it, and then it comes.
Yeah,
like
when you just
a
see
video
everything,
or something.
everything.
video,
It's
like,
like,
ugh.
damn, like you get chills. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
there
so,
it is, right?
So that there's that. Obviously, like the good moments with like different accolades is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like those are blessings, and then hate, just like all the bullshit you have to go to get through the shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I've been at this for close to 25 years, and longer. I've been doing this longer than I haven't been, if that makes sense.
right.
And yeah, you just gotta endure so many challenges.
It's a grind.
Yeah, like not only in the industry, but just like life. You know
You
what I
still
mean?
gotta
Like,
live,
like,
yeah.
bro, like, what if you got kids? Like, although in retrospect, my son is like the greatest thing that ever happened to me. When I was going, like, when his mom was pregnant, like, I was fucking terrified because, like, I didn't, my career wasn't where it is now. And I'm still not where I want to be. Like, I'm still in my head. I'm like, I have very high aspirations for like what I want to accomplish. And I was like, how am I going to do this? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And, enduring, like, sometimes your family doesn't support you. Sometimes your girl doesn't support you, but sometimes they do. You know what I mean? And,
It's all part of it.
it's
yeah.
all part of it because,
Yeah.
like, if our lives are in complete disarray, we're not going to be able to make music. That's why, like, mental health and taking care of yourself is so damn important. Because if you're not like a well-adjusted person, it's hard to make well-adjusted music.
Man,
You know what I mean? Like, you got to take care of yourself first and like get in a good space and get right, and then things will align like naturally and harmoniously.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. Trying to just enduring all the bullshit.
No, that's game, man. Like I said, I hope we've given people a lot with this interview. I mean, I've definitely learned a lot, and it's a pleasure talking to you about
Man, likewise,
just
man.
the
Thanks for
whole
having me.
the whole experience, the process.
Yep.
I hope people take what they learned from this podcast episode and go out and create some great music, because that would be, I mean, a good thing. Again, what we're trying to do is educate people, and if
I want
this
someone
helps
to be like,
somebody-
man, I watched this podcast, and guess what, man? 5 years later, man, I'm at the Grammys,
Listen
man.
to
You know
this,
what I'm
Man,
saying?
yeah,
that's a
that'd be cool,
reward
yeah.
for me to
Thank you, man.
to even potentially have that effect on someone. So that's like the biggest thing that I could ask for is for someone to take this and really run the touchdown with it.
Right. At
100%.
least be inspired to a point where they do something instead of just thinking about it. Like you said, you got to get out there and actually do it at some point.
Well, like it's not real for a lot of people, and people don't like. That's one thing that, even though like me and my uncle didn't work like close together on like a ton of projects, he like was like one of the biggest inspirations of my career, and it was for the reason that like this is all possible. Like our goals and our wildest dreams are entirely possible, and it was like this was the proof firsthand. And so it really all is possible. You just gotta work. A lot of people these days, they don't want to work. They want everything handed to them. They want it handed to them before they get on set, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And sometimes you gotta work. You gotta eat shit and ask for seconds.
You got to kick your feet, people.
Yeah, for real. There's no, you can't shortchange the process. You gotta have a respect for the process, because your process is ultimately what's gonna determine your product. And that's why my records sound a certain way, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. Like, I have a certain process to my records, and it has a certain outcome. And I feel like, if anything, like, that's my sound, is that process, and like whatever the natural outcome of that is. So you just got to keep at it and
That's it.
man,
Find your process. Yeah.
find your
your story.
process, shoo the haters off, even if they're your family. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you gotta really believe in yourself, and life is what you make it. So, always
100%.
shoot for the stars. Fuck it.
Man, shoot for the stars, people. Right on. Another episode of In the Building here
Yes,
with
sir.
Max Perry. We appreciate you,
building.
man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
I want to say one more thing, man.
Oh, wait, he got one more thing.
I want to say one thing. I just want to say to the Perry family, Sylvia, Mac Perry, and Richard Perry. What's your daddy mom's name? My bad.
Fred Perry and Parvo Velez.
I'm pretty sure your son, he's making you guys proud. He's making that legacy.
Yeah, man.
Live the fuck on, man. For sure.
Definitely.
Appreciate
You know
that.
what I'm saying?
That's major right
For
there.
sure,
That-
man.
that-
And we
that's
proud.
the
We
best
proud of him, so I know you proud of
Thanks,
him.
y'all.
Definitely.
Appreciate
Good
that.
work.
Thanks, y'all.